I still cannot, I mean, I get it, because, you know, when I lecture in the intro class is that I always use myself as an example, and in my 20s, I constantly ran away from who I was. I didn't like myself, I didn't know who I was, first of all. I didn't know who I was, I didn't like myself when I started to figure out who I was. But a lot of it has to do with the things that I was hearing society say about how I measured up vis-a-vis society. So a lot of this is societal imprinting and cultural imprinting. I'm not blaming, I'm just saying we pick up things and then we discard parts of ourselves that are unique and interesting and vibrant and funny and sexy and dynamic because we're being told through the media, through family, through culture, through friends, through the business that you can't be that. Right? And so the sadness is that you spend an inordinate amount of time running away from who you are. If you get wise and you get awake and you get conscious, you start, which maybe happens later on in life, you know, not to say that 20-year-olds aren't wired in a unique way as well. Although you hear me say about the reptilian brain, it's been proven up until they're 25, Sadie, you have a reptilian brain. It's still developing. But as we get older, you begin to realize, oh, the only thing that I really have to contribute and give is myself. That's it. And so I find it, I don't know if ironic is the right word, but why is it if you are, listen, the business is going to stereotype you. The business is going to type you out. If you do not know what your type is, A, that's a problem and you got to figure that out. And B, if you are in denial or don't want to be that type that you're going to get cast as, you also have to figure that out. Because I think there's two ways of thinking about it. I mean, the first way is this, is you guys, the thing about the business is this. It's based in homogenizing. It's based in trying to put you in a category or a box. Because that's how they monetize people. That's how corporations work. And you know what? Acting, even though it's art, is also a business. So it's corporatized. So at one level, you have to fulfill the model of which you are. So if you're beautiful and 6 foot tall and gorgeous, you're going to get cast that way. If you're ethnic or diverse, you know, then you're going to get cast that way. If you're a character type, you're going to get cast that way. If you read more as aggressive and angry or, you know, that kind of type, you're going to get cast that way. If you're the dingbat or the dumb blonde, you're going to get cast that way. Whatever these things are, at one level, there's a truth to it because our physicalness represents that thing that the medium doesn't see beyond the physical. Do you get what I'm saying? Now you can know in your own exploration of who you are that you are beyond that. Of course we are. The totality of who we are expands and defies beyond you are 29, you are hot, you are black, you are Hispanic, you are gay, you are straight, whatever these labels are. But I think it's important to understand that the business has got to find a way of, you've got to find a way of embracing that part of you that's going to generate work. And again, I find it so weird is all of you are castable, all of you are able to work, and when you turn on TV, what do you see? People who are your type working. Well, why is that? I don't think they're any more talented than you are. I think some people just have a more natural okayness with, okay, this is how I'm going to get work. And then as I continue to get work, I can transcend those types by doing other stuff. I can go do a play or go do an indie movie or go do a Broadway show or be in class. But I think you got to really embrace it. And yet, I think it's also fascinating, this thing about the business is that they're going to try to stereotype you, and then they're going to reject you or take you based on whether you fit into the model-like type of what they're looking for. I'm not talking about being a supermodel. I'm talking about these different kind of character models that they feel are sellable. And yet, the people who really break through are what? They are all uniquely themselves. They are all originals. That is the weird mind-bending thing about it, is that the people who have huge careers that you are probably inspired by are people who jump over that homogenized, what am I trying to say here, regurgitation of what this business and industry is trying to churn out. They are individuals. They are originals. You also are that. But I think the only way you actually find out that is coming back to who you are. And part of that is embracing those parts that you don't want to embrace that actually the stereotype or the model sees you as. So until you kind of, it's really a fascinating thing. If I see a really gorgeous woman and she's resisting playing the sexy type, I don't understand it. And yet I do. Because of the heaps of judgments we have on these parts of ourselves. And you know, for all of you who are sitting here, you don't see it that way because that may not be your stuff. You don't have a judgment about, maybe, let's say, if you're maybe not a supermodel, you're not going through the wiring that that person is going through in their heads vis-a-vis how they are perceived in the world. You've got your own shit. Do you get what I'm saying? You got to find a way of coming to terms with that, people. It's the only way you're going to work. And then, you know, the interesting thing about that is you either, in one of two ways in the work, one of two things happens. If you can't find a way of embracing the parts that are not fully integrated into who you are yet, either you're going to overcompensate, which means you're going to act, you're going to push out, you're going to show, you're going to want to run away from, or you're going to go underground. That's it. Those two things are the only two things that happen in acting work. You either overcompensate, means you push, you act, you are essentially hiding the part that is the stuff that you're needing, but you're scared of it, so then this happens instead. Or you completely shut it out and you go underground, so that your work is controlled in a way that's like no life pulse. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to be who you are. That's all you're going to have. It doesn't matter how many times somebody tells you you're not this enough, you're not that enough, you're not this enough, you're too much this, you're too that, too this, too that. Ultimately, your only ticket through is being who you are. That's it.